In early 1980s, Morrnah Simeona was invited to speak at one of the meetings hosted by the Winner's Circle Breakfast Club of Hawaii. Her speech was later published in a book entitled I Am a Winner, along with speeches by 10 other speakers at the club. The Winner's Circle Breakfast Club was founded in 1980. Every Tuesday morning from 7 to 8:30, the club met at the Ala Moana Hotel in downtown Honolulu. The last meeting was held in December 1989. The title of Morrnah's speech is Freedom. She spoke about her version of Hooponopono and drew special attention to the divine nature of the aborted baby beings. While there were historical and cultural perspectives of her speech, her core message of freedom for humankind is beyond the boundaries of time and space. Morrnah Simeona.
Hawaii today is the 50th state of the nation, with its ever-growing, multicultural population, has woven into its tapestry of time its own motto, Uame Ki'ie Oke Aenai Ke Pono, meaning the land is preserved in righteousness. It echoes the voice of a people from a tiny clutch of islands in the midst of the blue Pacific Ocean, having moved through time from the Stone Age, monarchical and annexation periods, to our present statehood in a shorter span of time than any nation in the world. The native Hawaiians look back at a rich and proud heritage, even though all are progressing in a highly westernized civilization today. However, their beautiful nature and character as a gentle, loving, caring, hospitable, friendly, cooperative, and peace-loving people are becoming more and more like gems that are sorely needed, desired, and hoped for in our rapidly changing world today. Our founding fathers have created the Bill of Rights and the Constitution as a tribute to the founding of a new nation. We of Hawaii are proud to be a part of it. Its motto, E pluribus unum, or more, many in one, is quite significant. For the uniting of all states into one nation can be a global incentive to gather and unite all nations under one brotherhood under God. In our pursuit of freedom, happiness, equality, and unity, among others in the world, we all have taken steps to create a land that will heal the wounds of the past and help to build our cornerstones for peace. From the beginning of time, man has wandered in the wilderness of his own mind, experiencing pain, hunger, disease, and death everywhere, not realizing that he has abused mind, the greatest gift man has ever received. By allowing himself to be involved in or to create unhappy situations with people, places, and circumstances that separate him from his true goals, the identity of self becomes a mystery. Therein lies the answer to all of life. Man listens to the loud cymbals and enjoys the glitter of outer illusions which tempt the fascination of his limited mind. He must be able to gauge his true drives from his emotional ones. He must weigh through trials and errors, for each step is a growing, experiencing one to learn, earn, and gain knowledge. Above all, wisdom. What is man searching for? Freedom from bondage. When he releases his hang-ups, his resentments, guilt, violence, all fears, jealousies, hatred, and condemnations of self and others, he will be able to keep abreast with the flow of opportunities in life. The meeting of the minds of men and their fellow men is important in turning the wheel of destiny towards the direction they direct it to. However, if the minds of men are divided, the wheel of destiny will not move. If so, it will be negative, destructive, and unfulfilled. All must push or pull in one direction, together in purpose, in effort, and in strength. If one's faith and devotion is partisan, he is already unbalanced, and any action needs to be accounted for. One must not be divided in purpose, faith, and effort, If so, then he must carry his own responsibilities. If the situation is unbearable, it's wise to remove himself from it and allow himself to mend and grow. The greatest help one can do for another is to give him the opportunity to improve himself in order to achieve freedom. Irrespective of where man is, in the desert, at sea, on the mountain, or in the marketplace, he must maintain his balance in the universe. Then he can extend help to those around him. In the meantime, stress, strain, and responsibility become a burden to those involved. He builds a wall of confinement within himself, and it acts as a means of security and safely from inquiring minds. When man's walls crumble, then it will be the time to build and fortify a strong structure built of a mortar of love, integrity, balance, and peace. There's a great need for stabilization in man's personal, domestic, educational, private, and national arenas. But it must be geared to the current pulse beat and consciousness of today. Underlying all these areas, there is a need for individual evaluation of himself and his relationship with his family, job, community, the world, and his goals. More than ever before, newer approaches in the field of psychology, psychiatry, psychobiology, biofeedback, and computer systems have emerged, seeking an easier, simpler, and a more effective method that will enable one to erase the blocks and hopefully find his own identity. The ancient Hawaiians, among the outstanding psychologists in the world, have used a unique system that is as old as time. The process of Hooponopono, as a form of catharsis in the cleansing of people, places, objects, and situations, works through the media of prayers. The concept is universal because it is based on repentance and forgiveness, which is a part of all cultures and practices of the world from the beginning of time. I have used the old system since age 2. I have revamped the process, yet it retains the essence of the ancient wisdom. The method covers the areas from karmic or past life, cleansing, conception, and exorcism in a more simplified, workable, and effective way. The restorative benefits of Hooponopono for earthbound individuals, natural resources, animals, properties, unhappy souls, and relationships have been experienced through the alleviation of problems and trauma and the balancing of situations and affairs. Let me share with you a few cases in which Hooponopono has helped. These cases are only a few of many that are similar, yet each individual has worked on himself and related situations that affect his life in one way or another. Experiencing their well-being is not only rewarding, but a joy to be able to point a direction to a more fulfilled life for them. Case 1. Hooponopono helped to dredge out of Mr. X's memory tremendous fears that related to the patient's war experiences, which triggered other memories in other lifetimes. His fears were not only deep-seated, but varied from areas of conception, child abuse, and parental rejection. He worked on his problems after learning the process and has gained not only self-confidence, but the release of deep-seated pains, resentments, and other traumatic feelings. This has made life more bearable and provided a sense of optimism for the future. Case 2. Dog X, since she was a pup, had horrendous fears of water on her body, so her mistress could only give her dry shampoo. Since swimming is a favorite sport of Mrs. X, she wanted the dog to accompany her in the water. Sprinkling water on the dog would send her howling and bumping her head against the fence, walls, or hedge, Mrs. said. X discussed the dog's problem with me, and I suggested that she do a Hooponopono with the dog using her name and her fears with people, etc. And the cause of the fears, blocks and association with water, which triggered her traumas. Overnight improvement was evident. And in a few days, the dog was swimming and still enjoys frolicking along the shoreline and swimming across the channel. So the dog and her mistress are enjoying one another's companionship and are experiencing a fuller and more loving relationship. Case 3, an executive, Mr. B, has a burnout, which is a form of depletion of energy, exhaustion, and depression due to exertion or consistent drives and pileup of responsibilities. This condition created a drain in his family and staff relationships and health. The process has allowed the executive to take a closer look at himself, evaluate the situation, and find his priorities and sense of values. He will find the answer himself for himself and his family and those who are near and dear to him. To date, he has rebalanced his workload and is able to observe not only himself, but his relationships, responsibilities, and right attitudes, which resulted in better health, happy relationships among the staff, and above all, harmony and respect with his family and others, which he expressed no amount of bribe could have won. What about abortions? Perhaps with little more than mere understanding, we might evaluate this being with more than test tube or cool scientific analysis. Or shall we say, seeing it from another point of view as a divine organism. However, I can only express my own experiences with numerous cases throughout the world and conclude that they're spirit embodied in a form like you and I, having divine intelligence, feelings, and memory which remain with it lifetime after lifetime. What effect does it have on the biological mother, father, relatives, doctors, nurses, staff, hospital premises, and those who promoted or suggested the act? For those who handle the situation as nurses, orderlies, etc. And some doctors, guilt and a lot of trauma psychologically have added to their lot of stress. Nevertheless, responsibility in the line of duty compels one to perform his daily duties as simply as emptying an ashtray. From the spiritual point of view, the spirit of the aborted one hovers around the biological parents, especially the mother, until it is released from its unhappy situation, which has been achieved with our process. Problems and blocks can and will bombard the parents and others involved. I can only attest to this by the countless numbers of cases which have been relieved, both the afflicted and the aborted one. It's comforting to know that stress stemming from unknown areas such as the above mentioned and the deceased who are unhappy, earthbound souls can be relieved for the betterment of all concerned. As we take an overview of the entire process of Hooponopono as an important tool used to unlock many doors of man's mind, we find that the sharing of these views and concepts will help others to broaden their horizons, understanding, and perceptions as they themselves define them. Self-introspection or looking within is a must. If we are to mend and grow, since balance is the key to all of life, we must be balanced within and balanced without. When we are balanced within, we will be able to express it through our eyes, our voice, our countenance, our attitudes, and our whole being. As we radiate peace, we bring balance into our universe, which is only a part of the totality of the greater universe. No longer are we bound by the chains of illusions, attachments, and desire, for we are by our own choice and free will. Set free. My system of Hooponopono provides a worthy and effective tool for self-discovery and freedom from stress, as well as unlimited rewards and well-being, peace, harmony, and understanding for all. The worldwide success of this unique approach to problem solving and healing and rebalancing of man in all life is most gratifying and fulfilling.